So we've got the E-flite Viper on the rack again. In our last installment we blew the ESC on the maiden flight, so I've currently got the fan out of it. Got my new warranty replacement ESC in from Horizon. So we're gonna see what we can do on getting this thing back in the air. Still have that disconnected. I have this crazy idea. I want to try to do this without taking the wing off because all of these wires run through into the body and through a very small hole. So I'm going to see if I can just fish this current ESC through the back with a string to pull the new one back in. So let's see if I can even get to this side of it, because this is kind of a tight fit in here. You can see, let's get a zoom in on that. So a lot of stuff going on in there. And this, as I found out while trying to do the replacement warranty stuff on it, this is apparently the old model now. They replaced the AR636B receiver with a new smart capable one, but I think it was off by like a week on the order on that. So to start with, we've got this connector to feed through, and we need to find where our throttle actually is in this mess of wires. Well, the annoyance of the receiver being glued down and facing the back is not really good access to the connectors. All the little flags are pointing all in the same spot. I'll tuck out of the way though, that'll help. Bind the cable out of the way so I can get at the throttle. Go from some slightly smaller fingers. Let's see if I can zoom that in any. There we go. I got a throttle. Oh. Well, maybe it's just easier to go this way. So there's a nice channel. You can actually just slip that right back in through there. Channel right up through the top there. The ESC should just slot right back in. We no longer have our little throttle flag on here though. Might have to make something with that. Well, I mean, it goes in channel 1, so it's fine. But I fished this all the way through. Bit of a mess with the rest of these cables back here, so get those tucked back down into the channel. Before I glue that down though, let's see if we can, well, first put the bad one away so we don't try to use it on something else. And we're going to take the fan and plug it back in. However, they are color coded and match. When I took this fan out, they weren't matched up to their colors. But I'm going to try them color to color first, and we'll check direction and swap them before we tape them up and stick everything back in. And since this has the AS3X receiver in it, we gotta flip it over so it can initialize upright. Except I still have that loose, so I'm just gonna stick a servo tester on it. Okay, got the fan in. Instead of doing a servo tester, I'm gonna go fancier and get my full watt meter in there to has got a nice tester. Got the ESC plugged into the control. Plug in the battery. Let everything go. And we're not going forward. So color to color isn't matching. So fix that. I'm just gonna take 2 of the connectors, swap them, and run up our tester again. That's better. So, got wires hooked up, got there. I've got a, let's unplug this. Battery up before I drop it. So now that I know I've got all that hooked back up, I gotta reach in there and glue back down this air fence, keep the ESC out of the airflow. I had pulled it out on this end for doing my testing earlier, so I could actually get at the connectors a bit easier. But that means now I need to dive back in there, and if I don't want to take off the wing to deal with all that, it'll take a little bit more finesse, but it shouldn't be too bad. Because this ESC isn't held in anywhere here and can be pulled right out the front, I don't want to have the battery connection pull these connections off of the fan. So I'm just going to take some electrical tape and wrap those connectors. They had, you know, filament tape on there, but this is what I got around and what should work just fine, because with everything else that's jammed in there, this shouldn't get tugged on too much. Take out the mounting screws before I forget. So it's got a nice little plastic shield. Keeps the ESC out of the airflow, but allows the airflow to cool the ESC through here. And just put another loop of foam tack through there. Set it down in place to get a contact transfer. First about that. Pull it up to let it dry. Wipe off this chunk that's just going to be some wires. And then thread it back in. And with that in, you can tuck these wires back in, keep them out of the airflow as well. Get the fan nestled back down on its mounts. That all buttoned back up. And now to redress all this stuff back in here. Reconnect the throttle cable and the bind wire. Tuck all the rest of these wires back out of the way of the battery. With the batteries I'm using in here, it's a really tight fit. So you gotta have them pretty well connected. Tucked out of the way. We've got signal up. put the bind cable extension back in as well, because even though I've already got it bound, it's not there. It's going to be a pain to do. And there's that. But I am, however, going to take that one, tuck it down underneath this battery tray with the front steering servo. Keep it out of the way. These guys need to be shoved all the way back, almost against that receiver, because they're a little heavier, but a heck of a lot cheaper. That's right. Need to get a foam block or some Uma grip in there. But they did also carve away a little bit on the canopy here, so that when this goes in, fits right in that spot. Okay, so got the model loaded up in our transmitter. Still going the right way. Gear still works. Almost. That one's just been giving me trouble. Oh, yeah. Here's another view of how I get some of my air-to-air footage, or air-ground footage as it is. Got the connector out of a free-wing ordnance system, and I just made run cam mounts with the other half, so I can put the run cam in the tray with the other half of the connector on it. Just mount it right in, and then I can get my aerial footage that way. Face forward, face back. I've got a full FPV pod using the run cam that I can mount on there. Gotta be careful with landing gear when I'm for the underneath ones though. But we'll be seeing more of that coming as we go. Normally have that on the CG mark. Got the marked on the camera too, so I don't throw it off too much. But on the Viper here, I've got heavy enough batteries in here that they're slightly behind, but I made it so it would fit next to this plastic cap. So it's slightly behind the CG, but it doesn't throw it off when I have the heavy batteries in. So with that, I think we're good to take this guy out on the field again and have some more fun. Well, at least until I pick up a center burner and put it in there.